obviously, the last year has been pretty wild. So I've been following you on Twitter for a little bit. It looks like you're getting back out there, going to practices. So what have you been up to, in the last couple of months?
Well, trying to get prepared for the season, but actually being able to get prepared by going out, seeing practices, visiting with coaches. Last year, we visited with coaches on Zoom, some Zoom calls, and on the phone. I called my friends that obviously I coached against, but I was also very, very respectful of their time because it was obviously a unique time for them, and between obviously having taken the test and the quarantines and all the things that the protocols that were in place for their players, it was very demanding. So to be back in the gym and to get a chance to see Memphis's pro day, Kentucky's pro day, Auburn, Alabama's practices, go see Villanova workout, Ohio State. This week I'm going to have a bunch of trips. I'm starting traveling tomorrow to North Carolina, and then go to Kansas and Michigan State, Purdue, and then finishing up with Texas and Baylor.
Back out there. I love it.
Trying to get back out and see teams and get a better understanding of the identity of teams, kind of what makes them who they are.
Right. Yeah, that's great to hear. And obviously, one more thing about last year, thank God, that type of season's over. If 10 years from now, someone asks you a question about the 2020-21 season, how would you describe it?
Season of resilience by the players, by the coaches, by the league offices, by the administrations. A year in which things we took for granted, going to practice, going to movies, having dinner with your team, individual meetings as a coach with players, all those things, it gives you a greater appreciation that we're very, very fortunate to do what we do. On this side of it now that I'm in obviously broadcasting, the big live events to go and watch practice. But I think a better appreciation for things that I think we've all taken for granted. And I think that's as terrible as this has been. I think it's actually, I hope, you don't hear coaches complaining about practice or complaining about, players complaining about things that, quite honestly, we've had it pretty good. I mean, the players, as difficult as it was, and quarantine is absolutely brutal, and being in your room except for practice and games. But if you look around what's going on in the world, knowing you're going to get 3 meals a day, knowing that you have medical attention right at your disposal, knowing that you have people that genuinely care about you, whether it's a coach, a player, administrator, or whomever. I'm thankful we've moved on, and I hope that we have greater appreciation for things we've taken for granted.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, we're back. It's good to have fans seeing all the other sports. Atmospheres are back, which is, the best part about sports. So this college basketball season, what are a couple storylines you're looking forward to or interested in?
Well, the impact of the super senior. I think let's face it. I mean, we had 2,500 people in the portal, and we have these super seniors that are all over the country. The impact of the transfer, impact of the NIL, impact of extended rosters, and then just you can go around the country. You got a Duke and Kentucky to make the tournament last year. I think they'll look a little different this year. I had a chance to see Duke practice as well, and obviously Kentucky's pro day. So you'll see that, but I think you have emerging teams. Obviously, there's so much conversation on Chet Holmgren over at Gonzaga, Jalen Duren and Amani Bates at Memphis. J.D. Davison, the kid at Alabama, is explosive. Jabari Smith at Auburn looks phenomenal. You got the potential of, UCLA returning, their team from a year ago that had this Cinderella story to the Final Four. And we talk about John Juzay, and he was terrific. But Jaime Hawk was just as terrific. They're adding Miles Johnson and the Watson kids. So there's a lot of great storylines. The depth of the Big Ten Conference, Purdue's emergence with that big front court. Can they play together with Edey and Williams? Jaden Ivey and just how he blew up last year at the end of the season and the play he had for USA basketball, I think is going to be something to watch. The depth of the SEC, Kentucky's going to be, good again. But you know what? Tennessee's going to be good again, and Alabama and Auburn and Mississippi State. You talk about grad transfers. They get, Rocket Watson, Garris Brooks, and the impact those grad transfers are going to have, or those immediately eligible transfers, it's really going to be interesting to watch.
Okay, we obviously cannot talk storylines without getting into NIL. You've been around going to practices and stuff. What's your first take on, how name, image, and likeness has affected college basketball?
I'm not sure yet. I think I'm a wait and see. I mean, I just saw the Kentucky's Ty Washington just got a deal with a Louisville Porsche deal. But I mean, we also saw some football guys that fell on their faces and got big time deals. So look at the quarterback at Oklahoma, the quarterback at Clemson. I mean, those guys signed quote unquote national deals, and I think that who knows what's going to happen with there. But I think that players are going to find it's going to find its level. And here's the deal. I mean, NIL is great, and I'm all for players making money, and I think guys will. Not everyone can be an influencer, but I think there'll be opportunities, whether it's clinic or birthdays and things of that nature. And for the great ones, they'll be up to monetize. But in a lot of ways, it's also going to be a form of legalized cheating. I mean, somehow, some way, I mean, it's going to be an extra benefit, but it's a deserving benefit. But I mean, that's just going to be the way it is. And then, players got to understand. I mean, the money they can make in NIL is in this moment of time significant. But if they work on their craft and they're good enough to be pros, because the guys that are going to make real money are the guys who can't get in the league. Guys that work in their games to the point where they get to the league and they're good players and then they get a max contract. Now that's real money.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's, NIL is going to have a place. And I think that some schools are doing things together, like Kentucky's doing a lot of things together, which was makes sense, whether it's the camps they've done together or different hoop fests that they've done together. I mean, other schools or guys are kind of doing their own. I just think education's got to be really important.
Yeah.
The money you make is not all your money. Uncle FICA is going to take about 40% of it. So I mean, you've got to be smart, and you've also got to prioritize what's the most important thing. Education. You're working on your game. Things of that nature. You can only be really focused on so many things.
Okay, so then in your opinion, you've coached, you've recruited, and now obviously you're on TV as an analyst. How do you see it, in your opinion? How do you see NIL affect recruiting? How have you seen it, and how do you think it's going going forward?
Well, it's going to affect recruiting. I mean, it's like I just said a second ago. It's you'll find the quarterback at Alabama is making $1 million.
Yep.
So the next quarterback they recruit probably kind of thinks, I'll probably make $1 million. You better produce. Look, you can't have a level playing field. That's just the way it is. So like when the answer, well, it's got to be level for. No, it's not. I mean, certain schools are flying on charters. Certain schools have amazing practice facilities, have dining halls, have special dormitories and lodges for their players. There's no level playing field. But so I think that look, Power 5 schools, the players that will be the greatest influencers, and then there'll be outliers. I mean, you're going to see, I think the people that are going to really benefit as much as anyone are non-revenue sports. I think non-revenue sports, there'll be athletes, non-revenue sports, male and female, that are going to be able to monetize. Whether it's clinics or speaking engagements or other things. I mean, I just think that there'll be opportunities. So those two girls at Fresno signed that one deal already. And
Wild.
Again, I'm all for it. I understand it. We're not going backwards. As a coach, you got to embrace it. When I hear people say that, I get a kick out of it. Like when people say, well, coaches can't be involved in it. That's ridiculous. Like, here's the thing: the greatest thing you need to do as a college athlete is develop a network. And if you don't develop a network, those people that you will meet along the way will have an opportunity to build a bridge for you to cross for the rest of your life. And that's really important.
Mhm.
It's really important. Like, so I think the biggest thing college athletes need to do is network, so that when your career is over, you have a network of people that can help you, uh, the rest of your life. So if NIL helps that opportunity and gives guys opportunity, gives them the opportunity to meet people, develop relationships, and build bridge for their future, I'm all for it.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting, especially being a college athlete. But I like to keep tabs on every level of basketball, and obviously social media. You're not going to not see this overtime elite G League stuff. So what's kind of your take on some of these guys that want to get to the league faster, skipping college and going the G League route or the new overtime elite?
Everyone does what's in their best interest. I'm not big on juniors and sophomores signing these contracts, because who knows what league they're going to be. And I would say less than a third of those guys will end up playing in the NBA. So where those guys go back to? And I understand that there's an academic component to overtime elite. That's great. And all that stuff sounds sexy. And I know they built this great practice facility and they have a head of academics. If you don't have anything to hang over someone's head, sometimes it's going to be hard there. Number two is, yeah, they'll pay for your college education, but you're on your own. Like where are these guys going to go back to? Is my big concern. I'm sure they've got great financing and there's good people involved in it. The guys that go to the G League, elite. I mean, some guys did really well. Some guys won't do as well. But I mean, if as long as the decisions are made for the right reasons, everyone's got to do what's in their best interest, and I respect anyone's decision. But with NIL, I would think that NIL is probably in college is probably a better route for someone, unless they're going to be Zion Williamson, unless they're going to be Jalen Green or one of those guys, because at least all those guys have somewhere to go back to. Because the league they're all trying to get to is the most exclusive club in the world. It's not for everyone. And when I don't like that everyone's selling sophomores in high school on, well, you're going to be pro. No, unless you're really special, you might be a pro overseas, which is a totally different life. But unless you're really, really special, you've got to be really, really a unique talent. And like when they say, "Well, we're teaching them how to be pros," well, last time I checked, like, Bill Self and John Calipari and Roy Williams and Mike Krzyzewski, they did pretty well. Did they do a bad job getting the guys ready for the NBA? I mean, like, that is only like they're now we have these people that are the ones that can get, like, if you're a pro, you're a pro.
Yep.
I mean, and if you look at the success, like even like just an example, the Kentucky guys have had not only in their max contracts, but look at the number of those guys that became citizens of the year in the NBA, and gave back. So that's the only thing that bothers me. If someone wants to go that route, God bless them, and more power to them, and good luck to them.
Yes, sir.
But if it doesn't work, where do you go back to? And that's the concern I have, because we devalue education. Education is not even a factor. We never talk about education, really. And in the end, education is something that we undervalue.
Agreed. So, okay, back to college basketball. I always watch you guys on College Game Day last year. I think some of it was virtual. Now you're going to be back in arenas, sold out crowds. How are you feeling about that?
I got 3 vaccinations in me, so and I'll wear a mask when I have to. So I have no problem. I'm excited to be back in the gym. I'm excited to be back, and with people in the stands. It starts with Champions Classic for us, and it's fun. It's fun, and I watched Madison Square Garden the other day in the Knicks. It was a packed Madison Square Garden. Now, to get into the arena, you had to be vaccinated. If those are gonna, that's I'm all good with that. So we're excited. Look, I'm excited to see ball. I'm excited to visit with players and coaches, and be in the arena and interact with the fans, and all the things that we really, really love. And as a coach, I loved, and I know that the coaches are excited to have the fans back in the arena, and energy back in the arena, and the passion and the ownership back in the arena, and the players. I have so much respect for the players. I mean, every game was basically in a scrimmage atmosphere, and yet players played so hard and they made so many sacrifices through the course of the year to get the season done. And so I'm really excited for like the guys that Duke first time to play in front of fans in Canada. Man, that's got to be something special. Guys, wherever it is, I don't care whether it's, at Villanova in the Finn, or whether it's, you know, in any arena where there's great ownership and great passion. I'm excited for those players to have a chance to go back and play in front of packed arenas and enjoy that. That's all part of it.
Right. Okay. Two more for you. Couple, new coaches at new schools come to mind, Indiana, Arizona. What are your thoughts on, the coaching carousel, how it landed this year, and how those guys are going to get it done?
Mike Woodson's going to kill it.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's coached at the highest level under the bright lights of New York City. He has put together a great staff. He understands, he's learning the business of college basketball. He's a terrific, terrific basketball coach. He's got a great brand behind him, and he's got a great love for the brand. Tommy Lloyd will do a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. He inherits a good team. Sean Miller left him some very good pieces. So he inherits a good team. He's putting his stamp on it. I think they'll play with greater pace and a little more freedom offensively, even though they played pretty fast last year. So I think that, look, I mean, that's, part of our business, but I think opportunities for young guys to, step up and continue. Earl Grant at Boston College, he's got a tough road. They've had good coaches at Boston College, but, it's a hard job. So, I mean, like Jimmy Christian was a really good coach. In the end, at Boston College, you got to go get players. Hubert Davis will do a phenomenal job at North Carolina. Phenomenal job. Just being around Hubert is uplifting, and I'm going to see them practice tomorrow. But
Nice.
Hubert he loves Carolina. He was a great player. He paid his dues in his apprenticeship, and he will do a phenomenal job representing everything North Carolina stands for. So I think we've got an exciting year of college basketball. Exciting year of college basketball, and we're excited to 3 weeks away, basically less than 3 weeks away. We'll be back at it.
Yes, sir.